Good morning. I am Inga Krivenkova, and today I am going to teach you about competence to be executed and to participate in and waive appeals. We will explore the various aspects of competence that arise during criminal litigations and the importance of respecting individual autonomy. So adjudicative competence refers to a defendant's ability to participate effectively in their own defense during a criminal trial. This concept has evolved to include decisional competence, which specifically addresses a defendant's capacity to make informed decisions about their case, such as whether to plead guilty, waive their right to counsel, or to testify on their own behalf. The evolution from a general understanding of competence to a more narrow view that includes decisional competence reflects a growing recognition of the complex cognitive and psychological demands placed on defendants in the criminal justice system. The parens patrie is a legal doctrine that grants the state the authority to act as a guardian for those who are unable to care for themselves, such as minors or individuals with mental disabilities. In the context of criminal justice, this authority allows the state to intervene and make decisions on behalf of defendants who are deemed incompetent. The implications of parens patrie in criminal justice system include the potential for involuntary commitment, forced medication, and other interventions aimed at restoring competence or protecting the defendant's welfare. Respecting individual autonomy is a fundamental principle in both law and ethics. In the criminal justice system, this means that defendants should be allowed to make their own decisions about their case unless it is clearly demonstrated that they lack capacity to do so. Decisional incapacity must be proven through a thorough and objective assessment, ensuring that any limitations on autonomy are justified and necessary to protect the defendant's rights and the integrity of the legal process. For search and seizure consent, the competence to consent to search and seizure involves understanding the nature of the consent and the potential consequences. Defendants must be able to comprehend their rights and the implications of waiving those rights. The competence to self-represent requires a higher level of understanding and ability to navigate legal procedures. The court must ensure that defendant choosing to represent themselves can do so without compromising their right to a fair trial. Entering a plea, particularly a guilty plea, requires the defendant to understand the charges, the consequences of the plea, and the rights they are waiving. Competence to enter a plea is crucial to ensure that the plea is made voluntarily and intelligently. Competence to testify involves the ability to understand questions, provide coherent answers, and appreciate the significance of the oath. This is distinct from adjudicative competence, which focuses on the defendant's overall ability to participate in their defense. Competence to be executed requires that the defendant understands the reason for their execution and the reality of the punishment. This is a separate consideration from adjudicative competence and involves specific legal and ethical standards. In the Godinez versus Moran, the U.S. Supreme Court addressed the issue of competence to waive the right to counsel and plead guilty. The court held that the standard for competence to stand trial is the same as the standard for competence to plead guilty or waive the right to counsel. This case essentially highlights the judicial considerations in competence evaluations, emphasizing that a single standard of competence applies to various legal decisions a defendant may face. In cases of sexual assault and child abuse, competence assessments are particularly sensitive. Victims and witnesses in these cases may have unique psychological and emotional challenges that affect their competence. Assessors must carefully evaluate the individual's ability to understand and participate in the legal process, considering factors such as trauma, age, and cognitive development. In Ford versus Wainwright, the Supreme Court ruled that executing the insane is unconstitutional. The court established that a defendant must have a rational understanding of the reason for their execution and the reality of the punishment. In the Panetti versus Waterman, the court further clarified the standard for competence to be executed, emphasizing that defendant must have a rational understanding of the connection between their crime and the punishment. The decision underscored the importance of a thorough assessment of the defendant's mental health. And then the procedures for assessing competence to be executed typically involve psychiatric evaluation, expert testimony, and judicial review. The goal is essentially to ensure that the defendant meets the legal standards established by cases like Ford and Panetti, protecting their constitutional rights while upholding the integrity of the justice system. In addition to the theoretical and legal aspects of competencies in criminal cases, it's important to consider real-world implications and examples. The PBS NewsHour video titled Mental Competency in the Criminal Justice System provides an insightful look into how mental competency is assessed and its impact on the defendants in the justice system. For the purpose of this presentation, I recommend watching the segment from 2 to 7 minutes. This part of the video features interviews with legal experts and mental health professionals discussing the challenges and the procedures involved in determining competency. It also highlights the specific cases where competency evaluation played a crucial role. So this media source helps to essentially illustrate the particular application of the concepts we're discussing today and highlights the importance of thorough and accurate competency assessments. So in conclusion, competence in criminal cases encompasses a range of issues from the ability to participate in one's defense to the capacity to make informed decisions and understand the consequences of legal actions. The legal system must balance respect for individual autonomy with the need to protect defendants' right and ensure fair and just proceedings. That is all. Thank you.